Okay, so back in time, back online, this is still code behavior section, and in this module we are going to be introducing ourselves to a lot of DOM manipulations mechanism that is available in JavaScript. So I could remember, let me just close this up. So I'll locate the folder. Okay, so this is nice JavaScript. So we are using this guy now. I actually made a very slight mistake when I was recording the other last tutorial, and that is because of how I am using my own personal philosophy to teach this program, and I shouldn't have called it. So the mistake I did was I called this where is it? Okay, I was on screen. I called the topic DOM, which is right, which is very right, and I defined the I defined each of them to be document object, which is right. Then I'll end it with manipulation. So, and that is because this is my own personal philosophy. If you're actually taking a real life JavaScript examination and you write this, you are going to get kicked out or get yell out that why do you do this? And me personally, by myself, I know for any reason I'm not going to write manipulation, or probably maybe I'm just trying to let you understand what I was doing. The correct syntax for this is document object model, like that. So please just know that this manipulation I use right here is for you to understand the basic architect of what is going on in when we are talking about the document, the DOM rather. So I just need to do the correction before we slim up or we slice up. So I don't think we have much of HTML here. Most of them are created with most of them are actually created with JavaScript, which is nice. So I'll just create enough space right here, and this is where we are going to work. It doesn't matter if it is there or not. So the first thing you are going to realize is that how many elements do we have here? We have the body, then we have button 2. Thank God we have 3 buttons. And I want to show you different way or mechanism of actually referencing to DOM or to elements when it comes to handling with JavaScript. So the first one I want you to know is the document dot get elements by ID, which does go ahead and get the elements for you by the ID. Then you put the ID right here, so the ID of that element. Another one that you need to know is the document dot get elements by I think it's elements. I don't know if I'm sure. I usually have the issue trying to know if it is the singular or the plural, so don't worry, we'll fix it out. By class name, then we need to put, okay, obviously it is elements, I can't remember now. So document will get elements by class name, then you need the class name of that particular element that you are going to get. So ID, I don't know why I have to touch that again. Another one that all these ones are actually used back when we are writing EX5, and that is ECMAScript 5. And that is I think when I was learning my own JavaScript, I ended up learning the time that JavaScript is actually moving to the next version. So the week, let's say like the whole week like this, I kept learning the syntax, and next week I enter my class and everything changed, everything. So what I've learned changed. So it's really hard for me to blend and cope. I have to be reading before, when you've actually learned something and feel like that's how it works, and another thing is introduced, it's really hard. And when I've now actually understand the past one, and now I've been taken to something very complicated. So we can just do it like documents.get. I want to show another one. sorry, is no longer get. So document dot query selector. So query selector actually help us to select most of our elements like we used to do in CSS. So in CSS we can say div with a class of box. Same thing with this query selector in JavaScript. So it returns this guy with the class of box, exactly the class with the class of box, or we say with an ID of box. Let me just clear this up with an ID of box. So either of the two is very important. It's going to work. Another one I can find for you is the document the query selector or. So this actually goes ahead and select whatsoever class that you put in and select all the value in a node form like that. And node is actually similar to array, so you can just put in your div. So when you put div, you are selecting all the div elements that you are actually using here. So for the sake of the example, I'm just going to navigate to the example folder because we did really an example, and I'm going to go to JavaScript straightforward and open this with atom. So it's going to open up in the next line. If you start the do I use this was this really okay? I think I've tried to manipulated this. Yeah, okay, I've tried to manipulated this. If you actually look at this, I did the same thing here. I did it with this query, and you can see I'm selecting the 0. So it's 0 mean the first occurrence of the input. Let's just close this up. It's not useful, it does not contain the code. So I need to really explain the fact that when you say select all, so this script is going to select all div elements that seems to be in the document within your HTML. Then it's left to you to select the one that you want. Maybe it's the first one by selecting a 0 like that, or the second one, the third one, and like that. Let me just bring this up so that it's not really turned there. So let's see case of scenario why we need this. Since we have the button, that we can use this on button. Let's go right there. So most of these buttons have an event listener. I'm still going to show you to some very quick, or let me say very simple way of putting an event on what's called on a button. I'm seeing button 3 elements to have an event listener that when it is click, it returns the div element class name to box. So let me just comment this out, and we are going to undo it right here with the use of what we are learning here. So what we're just going to do is the document dot get. Sorry, we are not using get, and that is because we actually want to select these elements that we already created by doing query selector or let me say query. Okay, let's do query selector or. So we can say dot query selector or. So I'm selecting all button inside this document right now, and as you can see, I can decide this is 0 is the first button, 1 is the second button, and 2 is the third button. So we need to select up the third button right here. So button 3 element, then I'm selecting it right here. So we can say on click, go ahead and perform this function. So can you see this is just another method, or let me say the method that you see most in JavaScript. Class name is equals to box, like that in JavaScript, or when you are sorting through the W3 school. It is very important to understand this guy. He keeps coming down as soon as I press control save, control S. So I'm going to copy the full part. Where is my Chrome now? God, Chrome hates me. It's already afraid of me, maybe because I'm hanging it out. So let's restore this. Oh my god, I shouldn't have do that. Why again will I do that? Why? For what reason? So this is what the other JavaScript calls to my system. So really intending to hang it out, to hang the Chrome out. Okay, so when we click, sorry, let's start. So when we click the stop button, despite the fact that we have commented the other kind of a mechanism we use by adding event listener, so this mechanism also still work by clicking it and adding the class to the box, and everything is working fine. I can refresh this, then start up again, and it is moving up all the way, and we can stop it right now, which really looks, oops, which really looks better to me. So we can say on click like that. If it is an input, we can say on key up, on key down, and these are really some kind of event. I just wanted to show you how you can do this. So to see how really the document does, sorry, pardon my minor for that. Okay, to really see how the document query selector works, we need to go ahead and do something here. So I just want to put in the browser console and say, okay, give me document the query, oh my god, what's that, query selector all, then off button right here. So if I press save, I think I've pressed it, I'm going to F12, ignore this guy, and you can see inside the browser we have node lists. So node list actually works like an array, but it's obviously not an array, because most of the things you can do on array you can't really do it here. It's fewer of them that you can do. So you can do the key, can do the item, we can do the for each, to loop through each, we can get the values, the key, those are hits. Then let's go to the constructor class. So we can, these are just the constructor class. Let's go to the proto. So you can see we can as is prototype of to local string to string, and those things that Visual Studio Code is supposed to show us, and we are having right here. Even within the constructor we can create, you can see some kind of extended class of it. I'm not going to dig into this too much. So we have button to be on 1, button to be on 2, and button 3. You see as I'm highlighting it, is actually showing the one I'm on. So the first button is the change background, the second button is start, and the last one is stop. So that's all for this section that I wanted to show you. Oh, I say that as well. Yeah, that's actually all, because I believe I've shown you this before. I've shown you this before, and I just need to show you the query selector all, so that in case you won't really be surprised by why am I using selector all. So there are lots and lots more, excuse me,